Hi guys, this is a changelog for FXGL 0.3.6, which is coming out this week. And along with general improvements, there are three features to consider. Feature 1 is custom interpolators. Feature 2 is the ability to shake kind of the screen, which is an effect that can be applied to a viewport. And finally, we have our own domain-specific language, or something that is closer to DSL. First two features are oriented at players, so they can experience a better game feel, whereas the final feature, which is domain-specific language, is oriented at developers, so that they can write their code in a more concise way. Let's look at them in more detail. So we'll start with custom interpolators. As you know, we have our own FXGL animation system, which is separate from the JavaFX animation system to avoid various synchronization issues. And so we can animate pretty much anything that you can see on the screen, standard JavaFX nodes, FXGL entities, so anything that can be part of the scene graph can be animated using our own animation system. Now we can also add interpolators, which are going to change the way the animation behaves. The animation itself stays the same, so it moves from A to B. It could be translation, it could be scaling, rotation, color, opacity, and various other things. But by default, they all have linear interpolator, which can be now changed to one of these several things. So if we do bounce, you can see something like that. So yeah, the linear one is similar to sine, kind of. Linear means constant rate. Anything else is going to give you various different types of changes of the rate of the animation. Elastic is pretty nice. So these are going to change how the animation behaves in your games if you change the interpolator, which is very easy to do. You simply pass the interpolator to the animation builder like this. And you can also change various settings within the interpolators, like in, out, or both in, out. So out elastic was this, in elastic is going to be that. Right, so yeah, next thing, which is the ability to shake the screen. Let's first see the original demo, which is the demo for Space Invaders, which is quite outdated, but will suffice. So what we have is, by the way, this is the bounce animation that was there. So we have this demo, and when the player gets shot, you have the red screen, and also you lose life, like this. Now, if we add the screen shake ability, so when player got hit, this is the method that is called when player gets hit. So if we add get game scene, get viewport, and shake, and you pass the value, which is basically how hard the screen is going to shake. The values around 10 work very nice. I'll use 12. So it's essentially, or technically, it's not screen shake, it's viewport shake. And the viewport is the viewport of the camera. That is the window into the game world for the player. So if we get hit now, the screen is going to, or the game view is going to shake a little, as you can see. So it gives better feel, or game feel, game juice, whatever it's called in the industry. And those two features, I got the idea from a video that I found on YouTube about increasing game feel, and I'll post the link in the description. I recommend that you watch that because it's only 10-15 minutes, and the guys talk about how to increase game feel without changing the gameplay. Right, so the third feature is domain-specific language, or something along those lines. So what we have here is this. This is the original method, and it's been rewritten using DSL here. This DSL is essentially a collection of static functions that get imported by simply importing this file, which is right here. So you statically import this. If you're using Java, you should just be able to do this. Import everything. There we go. And you get a bunch of functions in your namespace where you could use these alternatives to what we have here. So increment, or getGameState.increment, becomes just inc. These are very useful for variables where you want to get an integer, so get I, or set value, and so on. I'm planning to add other function shortcuts as well, like uncollision begin, so physics-related stuff, loading stuff, like texture, text, etc. So that is all it is. Where you have increment becomes inc, get game state get int becomes get I, and that is about it for now. Also, another sort of bonus of the DSL is that these can then be mapped to JavaScript functions, which means that in your scripts, whether it's cutscene, whether it's AI script, or some other kind of script, you will be able to call these functions as they are named. So you don't actually need to change anything. It will be exactly the same API, which is nice because in JavaScript you don't want to call all of this because you don't get type safety and all that kind of stuff. So this, on the other hand, is a lot nicer, and you can easily remember things like that. It is arguably less readable in that form, but as you get more experience with the framework, I think this will actually become the standard. It's still recommended, I think, to use this, and beginners will surely use this because it's a lot easier to remember in terms of where things are, and also the IDE will help you in terms of available functions. But this, I think, will or might work in the future. Right, so we've looked at the 3 new features in FXGL 0.3.6, which are the custom interpolators, screen shake, and this DSL. And that is about it for now. If anything changes, I will let you know. Thanks for watching.